A plea reflects the urgency and force of God's command. I think it brings together the strengths of these words, command and invitation. God is through His prophet pleading, return to me. Urgency and force of God's command, and at the same time, the necessity of human response to His invitation. That's how God shows He remembers, but God also shows He remembers not only with a plea, but with a promise. Return to me, and I will return to you. It doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter what you did on the way or when you got there. Whatever you thought, whatever you said, whatever you did, regardless of the depths to which you sank or the lofty heights that you proudly pretended to yourself that you had climbed. However wrong you were, however filthy you became, however sinful you are, return to me, He says, and I will return to you. Return from your idolatry, your false beliefs about God, your false beliefs about yourself, your self-righteousness, your self-loathing that indicates that you believe God is not strong enough to save you. Your consumerism and materialism and entitlement that pretends that the blessings and bounty of this world that are given according to God's grace, you deserve those. Your elevation of other people more highly than is appropriate, even people whose life revolves around pointing you to Jesus, but you've lifted them up on a pedestal as though they are something. Your wholesale and indiscriminate embrace of ideas, philosophies, and worldviews contrary to the gospel of Jesus Christ. Your blending of Christian faith and practice with the dark beliefs, practices, and motivations of false religions from your ancestral past or cultural present. The nonsense that people say, the things that are not born of Christ, not born of God, but which are of some sort of weird idol worship. And yet they somehow have married that up with Jesus, as though they can do both. Return, and He will return to you. Return from your immorality, your abuse of God's gifts of sex and sexuality, your entertainment of feelings and practice of behaviors that are contrary to God's will and His design for what pleases Him, as well as what is for the protection and flourishing of society. The people you've been with and the things you've done with them. The content you've viewed. The fantasies you've dwelt on. The provocations you've engaged in. The texts you've exchanged. And we could go on. All things outside of the safe and God-honoring parameters of marriage between a man and a woman. Return to me, and I will return to you. Return from your injustice, your lies and your deceit, your financial irresponsibility, stinginess, or fraud, your dishonest, self-serving schemes, your false witness, defending the indefensible, or accusing the vulnerable and innocent. Poor judgment on the one hand, prejudgment, that is, prejudice, on the other. Your slaughter of the children, the infants, even the unborn. Your neglect of vulnerable and needy, perhaps even impoverished members of society. The way you have treated strangers, foreigners, economic migrants, asylum seekers, and refugees. The way you have given lip service to love of neighbor, but that is not evident in what you say or do. Return, and He will return to you. Now, maybe you thought I was just, I was just reading you into this text or reading you out of this text, but really I was, apart from a few references to Christianity or texting or some sort of modern technology or something, I was actually rehearsing the sins of Israel and Judah as they are outlined again and again in the historic books of the Old Testament and in the prophetic accounts. It shows how little people have changed. But my friends, God hasn't changed either. Return to me, and I will return to you. God says it. Let God be true, and every man a liar. I will return to you. It is a promise. He's not just giving you a proverb, which might generally be true with certain exceptions. He's not giving you a basic principle, like most of the time, this is what I do. He is giving you a promise. If you come to Him now, He will come to you. If you return to Him, He will return to you. It doesn't matter how far away you are from Him this morning. He will come to you.